It is about this energy crisis is going to change the world. Sri Lanka and Myanmar are rationing fuel. The Philippines has instituted 4-day work weeks to conserve gasoline and electricity. Bangladesh briefly closed its universities to reserve power for homes and businesses. Across India, families and restaurants are cooking over wood fires for want of gas. Airlines are cancelling flights. As painful as the first phase of the energy crisis set off by the war with Iran has been, what comes next will be worse. This week, the final deliveries of oil and liquefied natural gas to Asia that passed through the Strait of Hormuz before it was closed are expected to arrive. The last tanker shipments to Europe should land by mid April. After that, many countries' reserves of gasoline, diesel, liquid petroleum gas, and natural gas will dwindle. The price of oil could soar as high as $200 a barrel if the war drags on. Faith Birol, Fatih Birol, the head of the International Energy Agency, has called this the greatest global energy security threat in history, much worse than the 1970s oil crisis, the COVID pandemic, or Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. This conflict has disrupted a bigger share of the global oil and gas trade, and there is no way to quickly fill the gap. Countries such as India, Indonesia, and Vietnam are responding to higher gas prices by burning more coal. But over the long term, this shock will accelerate turn toward cleaner technologies, especially in Asia and Europe. This is the first oil crisis in which clean alternatives to oil and gas, solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles, and batteries are both inexpensive and widely available. The fuel supply crunch has already spurred consumers to embrace these technologies. As the Philippines declared a national energy emergency on March 24, car shoppers in Manila were crowding into showrooms of the Chinese car maker BYD and purchasing electric vehicles. Solar vendors and installers are reporting a sharp rise in interest from German customers. Heat pump installations are on the rise in Britain. Electric rickshaw sales are booming in Pakistan. Induction cooktops are selling out at online retailers in India. In Vietnam, a conglomerate reportedly wants to abandon plans to build the country's biggest liquefied natural gas fired plant and instead pursue a renewables and battery storage project. Since the war started, the stock market valuation of each of China's three biggest battery companies has increased by roughly 20% or $70 billion altogether. For governments weighing how quickly to pivot to clean energy, Pakistan's recent history may offer some lessons. The country was hit hard by the energy shock that followed Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. It was unable to afford sudden exorbitant gas imports, so many of its scheduled shipments were rerouted to wealthier European buyers. But a deluge of inexpensive solar panels from China has transformed Pakistan's energy system and helped insulate it from the current scarcity of liquefied natural gas. Solar now generates nearly 30% of its electricity, up from just 3% in 2020. The Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air has estimated that the solar boom will help Pakistan avoid 7 billion fossil fuel imports this year. That is shielding Pakistan's from real pain. With the solar, you can make a major dent on your fossil fuel reliance in a matter of a couple of years. Laurie Mulivitra, the research center's lead analyst, told me. That's important because it could be years before the oil and gas supply is restored to pre war levels. After Iranian missiles struck the Ras Al natural gas export facility in Qatar, the country seized the production of the fuel entirely, suddenly taking 20% of the world's supply off the market. Officials predict it will take 3 to 5 years to bring that plant, the world's largest, fully online again. Other operators in the region also cut back on producing oil and gas because they are running out of places to store it all. Those wells cannot just be flipped back on like light switch. It will take months to ramp production back up, creating more pressure to find alternatives. The war will, in some ways, strain the clean energy sector too. As inflation and interest rates go up, some project developers may struggle to finance new energy installations and grid projects. Supply chains for key items such as transformers, aluminum, and copper wire now face their own bottlenecks and disruptions. Chaos makes everything, whether you are building polluting energy, infrastructure, or clean, harder and more expensive. Countries such as India will have to make electric grids built for coal flexible enough to incorporate large amounts of wind and solar. To meet the surge in demand for clean tech, governments must decide how much to invest in their own factories to churn out all those solar panels, heat pumps, and electric vehicles, and what tariffs to levy on imported versions. According to Tim Sahai, the coordinator of the Z0 Industrial Policy Lab at Johns Hopkins. But countries and firms can build out renewables much faster than they can, say, huge gas liquefaction terminals, pipelines, and power plants. Achieving energy security is now an overwhelming imperative. That means not just installing more wind, solar, and batteries, but developing domestic clean tech manufacturing capacity and electrifying home heating and transportation. Okay. The time for new beginning. The equinox is a special astronomical event that happens twice a year, heralding the beginning of during March and autumn in September, and considered a celestial occurrence of equal day and equal night. The spring equinox on March 20 has a special significance from different dimensions: religious, cultural, philosophical, healing, ecological, and spiritual. Religious festivals like Holi, Parsi, Nowruz, Easter, Judaism's Passover, and Higan-e Buddhism have been positioned with the spring equinox and as a time of reflection and renewal, rebirth, growth, and new beginnings. Historically, this time of the year has been revered and celebrated by different cultures and traditions all over the world. From a philosophical standpoint, the spring equinox can be inferred as a time where there is an end of hardship and preparation for a new beginning. It symbolizes happiness and sorrow, like light and darkness, needed for self acceptance and integral part of our human experiences. The equal day and night metaphorically accentuates the need for attaining a balance or mental anchor of equilibrium, essential for harmony in life. Health and healing can be prioritized and worked upon, as exposure to natural light during spring can be mood elevating, boost cognitive functioning, improve sleep patterns, and regulate circadian rhythms. Serotonin levels can get enhanced due to increased daylight, which in turn improves the energy levels, immunity, and vigor. Spring becomes the ideal time to reconnect with nature, pursue outdoor activities, and adopt a healthy lifestyle. It is an opportune time for rehabilitation, recovery, and renewal for those convalescing from illness, as well as to revitalize themselves physically, intellectually, and spiritually. For nature lovers, spring is a time of ecological enhancement, observing the major change in the form of awakening of the flora from winter dormancy. The journeying of migratory birds and the brimming activity of insects. The increase in food availability creates the right conditions for the breeding of many species. This surge in activity contributes to nutrient cycling and maintaining ecological balance. The arrival of the spring has a deep spiritual meaning, illustrated by Easter, the resurrection of Christ, a symbol of the victory of life over death. This dimension carries profound significance in embracing hope, new beginnings, and the celebration of life. With this, I am going to finish reading newspaper. Thank you. Bye bye.